Boom, how you doing? I'm glad you're back on my channel. Today I'm going to do a video which is a lot different than what I normally do, and this was requested by a few people that I've actually been working with and I've been doing readings for the last couple of months actually. So what I'm going to do, talk about the kind of cards I use when I do my readings and also when I do predictions. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk about my old stuff right up to what I am doing today. Stay tuned. I'll see you after the intro. Boom, welcome back. My name is Jay. I'm from Carnacalistics, where we learn together and we grow together in the sight of God. So today it's going to be a bit longer than normal because I want to talk about my cards which I use, my tarot cards and my oracle cards which I've used. I'm going to speak about the ones I've created with Spirit or with the collective, and I want to also speak about the ones I first got and how it's moved on to what I kind of use today and why I use them today. And also, if I remember, I'm going to speak about the kind of cards I use for situations or predictions, or even to just look into bits and pieces. So stay tuned. This is what I'm going to talk about. So let's get started. So years and years and years ago, I started with oracle cards, and my oracle cards I no longer have because I gave them to my son. So my son now reads of them. And it was oracle cards based on the archangels, and these oracle cards were going back, I think they were Dora and Virtue, so they were going back for many years. And we're talking about, I can't even remember how long ago it was, but it was well. So I gave it to my son, who now reads. What I then started to do, I was actually in Egypt, and I came across these cards, which is a prototype. I don't think you can see it. It's a prototype for these actual cards I'm going to show you in a minute. And these are basically just normal Egyptian playing cards, and we're going back a good 20 odd years. So I got these, but what I did do differently with these, when I was meditating, they showed me to scribble different meanings on the cards, purely what comes out from Spirit. So that's one of the things that they do. So you find on some of the cards I use, they are kind of tarot cards, but then they / oracle cards because the meanings are on the cards. Helps me to prompt me to see, to connect with Spirit. So I'm not trying to like look at the symbols and so on. I'm just like going with the flow. Apologies if I cough a lot. I'm literally at the tail end of getting over my cold, which is a pain in the rear end. So the next one I put together, kind of like the expansion and growth of it. I created these, which is called number cards, basically, is what I call them. And there are 21 cards, and they range from, basically, because I was an astrologer, and so these cards are based on astrology, which is at the top, and you got tarot, which is at the bottom, and numerology. So I was an astrologer, then I did obviously tarot, and I also dealt with numerology. So these cards range from different things, and again, the same inscriptions on there, you can't really see, would have bits and pieces of words on it of the meaning. This is a wish card. So these are the cards I created with my guides, and they are really powerful. I still use them today, especially when I'm doing events. The next one I want to show you actually is the other ones I've created, but I'm going to go and show you another one after. Is these cards, and these are basically this is my old logo. You can't see it. That's my old logo. You won't be able to see it because it's obviously too bright. That's my old logo. And that mural used to be on my wall. And these cards are actually pictures of Egyptians, and would have different names, and it would have gratitude, like this card, and then you would have Nefertiti, then you have Seth. And as many people know, I work with Egyptians. You know, my bodyguard is actually Nubis. So this is my other card, which is for protection. And that was the cards I used for. I was transitioning while I was using other cards. I created lots of different cards for different reasons. But when I'm purely tapping into ancestry, I would use these cards. That was my key thing in order for me to be able to work with spirit. So my other cards I use, this is going to be a bit wild, is the Rider Right cards, which is this. These are really oversized, so it's the basic tarot cards. And the reason I use these big cards, because many people know I do events, so I do like parties and events like that. So normally I have about 20 people in a circle, and in order for me to kind of like, when I'm talking, it's easy for me to just hold up a card and go blah 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 blah, this is about that card or about you, and it changes. So for me it helps. I don't necessarily use these when I'm working with someone directly who's sitting with me. I mean, it's unless it's only like a short reading and it's just really prompted. But then I moved away because I've got a smaller version of these, and as you can see, they are authentic Rider Right tarot cards, and these cards I use. You can see the size of these. I don't know what I think they're like 7 inches. No, not that big, 5 inches, I believe. But these are really good. Sometimes, if I want to empower the room, I would leave a Pacific card there in the room. And what my cards have a tendency to do is reverse. So it's really kind of frustrating. But yeah, so that's what I kind of would work with. And it's really powerful. So I would use these, but I use them, the smaller versions, when I do readings, one-to-one readings, but with tarot. So let's go on to what I would use today. What I would use today, I'll show you the cards in a minute, but I want to show you the book. It's wrapped, it came in, and obviously the actual booklet itself. These are called the Chakra Wisdom cards. These, I have to say, I really highly recommend these, by Tori Hartman. This is a really good tarot book. A really good tarot cards. I'll tell you for why. I'll tell you why. Hang in there. I'll tell you why. Because these cards are awesome, yeah? These cards are made up of the normal 78 tarot cards you get in the other packs, which I mentioned to you just a minute ago. However, these cards, right? You see the different colours? They're colours of the chakras. Think about it. Each of these, when I'm dealing these cards and I'm shuffling, and I come to a particular one, say if it's green and it's cups, I know it's about the heart. So if the subject is talking about the situation and the person's detached from the situation, I go, you need to put your heart more into it because blah, blah, blah. So that's straight away, I can see how these cards are rolling, you know, how the cards or the reading's going to go without me seeing it. So I lay them out, say if I do an event, I lay them out in 7 rows, yeah, seven cards. And normally people go, oh, can I just have a general reading? Which is kind of frustrating because, you know, anyway, so now we get the fish. And like with the King of Cups, right, this for me is a crown chakra. And for me, it will be like tap into the higher frequency, look at your higher self, get the answers from your higher being to help you find your answer. So I'm not going to get into start translating stuff like that. I wanted to show you that, but I just want to talk about how I read. So when I'm working with someone, I rarely ever read reverse. So basically, this is normal. You see the bottom? That's normal. That's straight up. And if this is called reverse, it's at the top. So whatever this stands for, this is about 4 cups, will be about emotions, because the cups is about emotions and feelings. And if it's this way, it's talking about using your emotions and being tapped into your feelings. If it's this way, you're detached from your feelings. You see what I mean? It's the opposite. I always say to people when they're learning tarot, to learn the symbols, if you find it really frustrating and you may have learn difficulties and you can't really stomach it yet, I would say go into oracle cards, which are these are my oracle cards, which I use sometimes, but I go through a range of oracle cards, which I feel is more I'm more pulled to. So these are by Kyle Gray. If I can see this. Kyle Gray, these are really good. These are called the Keepers of the Light Oracle cards. So they range from different scenarios, from different situations, and have different meanings. And I use these kind of like as triggers, really. And because they've got different deities, different kind of like I want to call it periods of time, but there's another word I want to use for it. So you could use Egyptians. Sometimes you use Celtics, so like this one. It's different deities, and then you've got Hindu, so there's Krishna there, and then you've got Michael, which you could say is Catholic, and then you've got Bridget, which is there, which is more Celtic, and then you've got Odin, which is, I'll say, is Nordic, and that's again more Celtic-ish. And then you got Lord Ganesh, and it ranges. It's really, 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 really powerful. Someone was saying to me the other day, how does my family feel about me being a reader? And I said, and I basically said, well, I've been a reader I've been a reader longer than they've known me to be a reader. So I've had clients or people I work with and doing good stuff and good healing and good messages to help these people longer than they even knew. And in reality, what my family think doesn't really bother me. And whatever the views they have, that's their own opinions. But I live my life the way I live my life, and I don't tell them how to live their life. And also, a lot of the time you find out they end up coming to me anyway. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it, really? And by and largely, like, I'm talking about my extended family, not so much my children. My children are, as I said, my oldest, he is a reader. He goes out and he does readings anyway. He's just coming to his own now. He's got a massive development. And my other son just uses it his way. You know, he uses his own spiritual gifts. And I see it when he talks. You can see the knowledge that comes through from somewhere he doesn't understand, but he knows where it comes from. And with my other son, he's more a reader. He's making a jump into mediumship, but he's still holding on to that life raft, which you don't force nobody to make that jump. They got to be ready when they're ready. And by and large, when you do make that jump over, but he does tap into spirit, spirit does talk to him, but he won't just be able to just go boom, 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 stand up with that cards. He would have to have support of the cards. And he's a blinding reader. He reads for me. And again, I don't just go to anybody. I think I don't even go to anybody for tarot reading but my son, I think. Who else is there? Probably my good friend Jade and a friend of mine, Elka. I think they're the only three people I would kind of approach. I don't think there's anybody else I've gone to. But yeah, I think predominantly overall, if I need guidance, I will go to, if I'm bogged down with human stuff, when I'm trying to tap into spirit, the closest person that reads to me or reads like me or translates stuff like me would be my son. I'm not saying obviously, because just because he's my son, it doesn't mean he's going to read like me. He could be reading totally different, but the information and the way he puts it together and how he speaks is very similar, very, very similar to how I read. And you know what's really, really, really weird? And I have to put this out there, and this is respect to him. He hasn't actually sat there and watched me read for somebody. Do you know what I mean? So he hasn't been in a session with me reading for someone. He's been at events with me when I'm reading, and he's been observing, but he hasn't actually heard how I read. Maybe, I think how he probably picks up is how when I used to read for him or when I read for him now. But he reads his own way, and everyone says he reads just like you. It's really uncanny. He picks up a lot of the same information as me. By and largely, his guide is actually my mum, so his grandmother. So it's really weird. And my guide, who taught me, was my mum's ancestor, my mum's great grandfather. So it seems to all come from that side. As a reader as well, would I change my life? Because some said, would I want to be different? No way. I love it. I'm in Cornwall next week for a couple of days. I'm at a massive event. I can't wait. I just got my banner done and it's huge. Got my new business cards done. I rebranded how everything is. You know what? I really made my business, I hate to call it that, but it is what it is. My business, a way of life. So I haven't called it Karnak Holistics, and it's something I'm a belonging to. Karnak Holistics is me. So when I read or when I work, and say if I'm at an event and I'm doing readings, or I'm doing a party, I'm still the same person, whatever name I'm under. So that the information is still the same, sometimes deeper, but I've not shied away from being who and what I am and loving for what I do. And by and largely as well, when I read, it opens a whole group of a Pandora's box of information and stuff. And I own that when I'm there. But I own it when I'm with that person. You know what? I read for someone the other day, and from a human point of view, yeah, so me looking at the person, talking to him, I was like, you got no hope. Excuse me. I said, like, you got no hope, like, from a human point of view. But I laid the cards out, and I was like, wow. And the spirit started speaking, the collective were talking. I was like, okay, what are you trying to get over for me for them? They were telling me to tell the opposite of what I saw as a being. And I remember when I was talking as Jason, not as Jason the psychic or Jason the medium, because I can tap into it just like that kind of thing. But I was just to me, I was like, yeah, well, whatever, human reaction would be, I don't think so. And they goes, let me check it. And then I kind of tapped into it through mediumship. And I was going, interesting. What they were telling me was quite the opposite, kind of like in conflict of what I saw. Then I read the cards, put the cards out. I was like, okay, which kind of like told me a story of this journey where this person is going on. So I relayed it back to them. I said, like, this is what I see. And they were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I said, this is where you are now. And this is what this person's doing. And this is how you're feeling. This is where you want to be at. This is where you're going. This is where you're at now, or where you're stuck. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then I started learning, even every day I do a card reading, I learn something about myself, something about somebody else, and something about my art or my craft. Knowing that my craft is so deep, this stuff I humanly can't really work out, but spirit shows me. And I was again, right. And I'm honest with him. I said, look, as a human, I couldn't see it happening, but as a healer and a reader and a medium, what they showed me is this. And I told them, and it was like, that makes perfect sense to me. I was like, okay, but that's your stuff kind of thing. Not about it, that's your stuff. As long as you can take it, that's what matters. All we are, as readers, as healers, as mediums, are just channels. We're just channels for them to talk to you. And I think it was about 2 weeks later, I got a call from him and said, you know what? It's exactly what you said. It worked out. It worked out exactly how you said it. And I was like, wow. And even then, when Spirit showed me that, I was like, amazing. This is why after 30 years of reading, I still love it. I still still love it. It's like the first day every day. And I said to my son, I said, look, he said, why'd you still do it? I said, because no two readings are the same. Even though they are the same person, no two readings are the same. And the information that comes forward, I can't even write it. It is just so powerful, and it keeps me shocked all the time. Something comes out of it that just blows me away, and I love it. From when doctors say that someone can't have a baby, to them saying to me to tell them you're going to be expecting a boy and it's going to be early next year, to them phoning me up saying the doctors were wrong, you're going to have a child. You know, they're having a child, and then another year later, next minute, they come see me again, come through the door, that baby's there. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? It's just powerful, you know. So anyway, I'm going to leave it on that, and I just wanted you guys, because I know some people have asked me about how I read, what cards I use, and what it is. I just ordered some new cards, which is working with goddesses, and I'm really excited because I'm working with a female energy at the moment, and I want to see where that takes me. And again, you know what? As a reader, I don't try to work out what they want me to do. I just follow, and I just follow the flow. Like they show me the goddess, and I'm seeing where that takes me, who it takes me to, what it takes me to. And sometimes they go to this event, just take these cards, and I'm like, okay, let me just take these. Nope, take these cards. And I went there, like I went to an event, and I thought, let me just take some cards just in case. But it was meant to be mediumship. Turned up there, they goes, oh yeah, we got you a table, blah blah blah. And you know, I had my cards there, and if I didn't take my cards, I would have been kind of buggered, you know. So yeah, I'm really blessed. So you know what, if you guys are getting into it, my heart goes out to you. Go for it. It is a beautiful journey. Can be challenging. Bit of advice: if you're doing an event or you're doing a group reading, more than 5 people, take a day out. Just have self-care. If you're doing continue readings over a period of days, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, have Thursday, Friday out. Just self-care, spiritual baths, cleansing, meditation. Just be in your space. Just be, because you can burn out, spiritually burn out. And I've almost got to that point. So I've done 3 weeks, and the majority of the days I was just working, doing readings. And people say, well, if you're connected, then why should it drain you? You know what? We live as human beings, and to channel that information takes energy. And don't care how fit you are, it will drain you. And not drain you that you can't move, it just drains you emotionally. Because it's like having a meaningful, deep conversation with a best friend. Yeah. And I'm not talking about, talking to a client is the same way, but it's talking with my guides. And when they're telling, on my collective, when they're telling me stuff, it's stuff that I'm like, they give me more emotion, and you need to do something with that energy. Emotion is just an energy, remember? So just bear that in mind, it's not a bad thing. So I'm going to end it there, because I know I could be here forever talking to you guys about it, but I just want you guys to know, if you're getting into this, if you're moving into, if you're seasonal medium or clairvoyant, or if you're just beginning and you just got a couple of tarot cards and you're just not sure what you want to do, go for it, man. Just enjoy it. You know what? Just enjoy it. And I just say to my son, just enjoy it. Don't try and make it into something that it's not. Just enjoy it. It will form its own way. It will create its own self. You don't need to force it. It will guide you. And if you are someone that is doing tarot and you're there and you maybe had a bump in the road, you know what? Go back to basics. You know, I'm constantly going back to my old cards and going, okay, let me just mess around with these a bit, or let me go back to deep meditation or light meditation, and let me walk those paths, those corridors I used to walk back in the days. Let me fly with Chief, you know, my guide, and be an eagle and flight. Go back to what you did do when you first moved into it, because that will regenerate, that will reset you to come back to put you back in this space right now where you are. And it is so, so powerful. So, as I said before, I'm going. So stay blessed, stay safe, look after yourself, but most of all, look after others. And I'll see you in the next video. God bless and namaste.